In just a couple of days, I torched what could have been an amazing month. As a beginner trader, I find myself in a cycle of self-sabotaging, and it needs to stop. As traders, you can relate and learn from my self-sabotaging mistakes that are holding me back from becoming a successful trader. So what's holding me back? Well, I honestly think it's a bunch of things. It's the pressure of feeling the need to be successful right away. It's also the wanting of more money. And it's honestly the feeling of that I just kind of don't like to lose. But these are all things that traders need to overcome in order to actually find success in this field. So let's dive into 3 of my losing days from this past week to really see how I self-sabotaged what could have been an amazing month. So if we start off by reviewing Tuesday, this was a very interesting day because after the big move down, the market really didn't do too much. As you can see, we're obviously going into the market with a bearish bias, with price being under previous day's New York, the New York VWAP, and also the daily VWAP, which is the VWAP anchored at the start of the future session overnight. And as we're seeing price fall lower, we're not going to catch a falling knife. So what I do is I actually wait till price pulls back. Now, here's where I kind of mess up, is because I do get a very decent pullback to the New York, as you can see right here, but I didn't take the trade, even though I saw price clearly reject this zone. I guess in the moment, I was mainly treating VWAP as a specific level, not so much as a zone of rejection. So when price actually did reject the VWAP, I didn't count it as a rejection because it never fully touched it, which I should have known better. Again, I was just scared because the day previous to this, I kind of went off the rails. But anyways, the trade that I honestly should have taken, and then it would have been a one and done day, was this trade right here off of the clear rejection from the New York VWAP, pushing lower, breaking the inertial balance low. And then price rallies up. And then I actually got in after the rally up once price closed back below the daily. But this was another mistake. If I wanted to be in short, the best price to actually be in short here was to, again, play VWAP as if it's a zone. The zone that we're playing here is going to be the previous day's New York VWAP. And price clearly rejects this level and then pushes lower. And I can just trade key level to key level. So from previous day's New York, I get in short and then I short it all the way down to the daily. And then I can close on the daily. Or if we rip through the daily, I can hold. But the fact of the matter is that since I waited until price came all the way back down and told myself I want to get in short once we actually close below the daily, kind of stupid because I'm ignoring the long potential side of this. This could just be a higher low and we could just be bouncing right off the daily. Just because we're closing below the daily on the 2-minute does not mean we're going to continue lower. Now, if we look at Thursday, we can clearly see that I was trading with emotions this day. The setup that I actually took was not that bad. We can clearly see that after a run down, price made a nice pullback, rejecting the previous day's New York. And then I got in off of the close of the New York, kind of like how we saw on Tuesday. But again, I need to apply the same lesson that was learned from Tuesday into Thursday. I shouldn't wait to get such a low price like this when price is clearly rejecting the previous day's New York. It would be a lot smarter for me to take the rejection off the previous day's New York because of how nice this looks. We try to break the previous day's New York, and then price just quickly rejects that break. But I got in off of the close back below the New York VWAP, which isn't awful. Now we took a little bit of drawdown, went into some profit, and then we took more drawdown to reject the previous day's New York again. But at this point, I am getting close to ending the week. I've had all red days this week. I'm frustrated. I'm very emotional. So I end up closing this loss early. And this did not need to happen. Because if we actually look how this trade ended later on in the day, we're going to see that, yes, price did retest the previous day's New York again, but it never went to my stop. And it actually, from here, went lower. And I would have been able to take a nice profit. So what did I learn from Thursday? Well, I need to let my trades play out. The trade was never invalidated. My only reasoning for cutting my trade was that 1, I was afraid to lose, and 2, I was very frustrated. Not only that this trade wasn't working quickly like I wanted it to, but because I was having a pretty bad week. And guys, I wish I could tell you Friday was better, but It really was. Let's look at the first trade I took on Friday. Now, if we look at the first trade I took on Friday, we can clearly see that I'm kind of breaking my rules here. I'm not profitable taking high of day breaks. My best setups are bounce plays, specifically off of New York. So that's exactly what I need to be playing. I missed an opportunity to take a nice, beautiful bounce play off of the daily and also the New York VWAP right here around 1020. I did not take that because of hesitation. Again, I'm trading with emotions. I'm scared to make my week even worse because I'm on a 4-day losing streak. And so I hesitate and I miss my opportunity to make some money on Friday to end the week with a green day. But I didn't do that. Instead, I waited for price to kind of try to make another pullback or find another entry. But around here, I started to get FOMO because I knew from the New York, there was a high likely chance of price wanting to bounce from the New York and daily and touch the previous New York. And I didn't want to miss out on that move. So I entered strictly off of FOMO. If I wanted to get in, my opportunity to get in was right here off the daily in New York and then take some partials at initial balance high. And then once we make this pullback and break high of day, then I could add into the position and then take out again more profit once we actually do in fact break the initial balance high for the second time. And then obviously once I see these two red candles, I could honestly just close my position out total and take a nice win to end of Friday. But I didn't do that. I got in off of a FOMO trade, taking the high of day. And well, I mean, we can just see how this trade ended up. And it came right back down. And again, I cut my trade. I was emotional. I was frustrated myself. I knew I should not have taken that setup, but I did anyway. But I think I redeemed myself with the second trade. If we look at the second trade, right after I cut that trade, I'm like, okay, clearly we have some strong support. This is the first, second, and now third touch of the New York. So what I wanted to do is get in on this third touch. I knew that price struggled to push higher, so I kind of just wanted to scalp it going for equal highs. If we rip through these equal highs, then I would hold price to the previous days in New York, but we didn't. When price got here, I saw these red candles printing, and then I got out right at the top here before price kind of came right back down to my entry. But it was a great exit, and it was a fairly decent trade. I got in off the bounce of New York, took profit at equal highs. Bada bing, bada boom. We made back the majority of our loss, but we were down about 50 to 60 bucks on both of my funded accounts, which is not bad. Now, the lessons that I honestly learned from this week is to trust myself. I've had enough screen time and I know how price needs to react to these VWAP levels in order for me to take a nice trade. I also know better to not trade with emotions. I shouldn't be afraid to lose. If I'm willing to put money and risk losing money because I'm seeing a thesis, I need to be able to see it through. I can't cut it early because it just doesn't work out for me. It ruins my mental. And lastly, I also need to treat VWAP as zones, not so much as specific levels that price needs to touch before I get in. If it rejects the zone or the area of the VWAP, I should take that as confirmation, get in, and if I get stopped out, I could always get right back in if it rejects it again. But these were the mistakes that honestly is sabotaging me from succeeding and trading. And going forward, I will work on fixing those three things.